Good morning and welcome to Fridays on the Porch. I am your host, Dr. drkatieoshea, and today I am very excited to introduce my dear friend and special guest, Toni Colomy. Toni and I met 2 years ago when we were both in a Reiki training class. So we are Reiki 1 and 2, and Toni is a myofascial release therapist, and my PT heart just gets so excited to talk about the body work that she does, how it impacts our body, how it impacts our ability to heal and get rid of some of the stuff that we just hold inside. So, Toni, good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. It's an honor. I'm so excited to have you. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Happy to be in Medford. Happy to be on the porch.
On the porch.
With my pumpkin coffee.
Yeah, and our new swag.
Yes.
And
Yes.
today
Beautiful.
is a very exciting podcast episode. I told you we were going to do this at the end, but my ADD decides we're doing it now.
Okay. All right.
So for those of you who were following along this week, thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Toni is going to pick the lucky winner of a Friday on the Porch mug. And the winner is, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure,
Gina Crawford.
Gina Crawford. Congratulations.
Gina.
You won a Friday on the Porch. Uh-oh, Gina, she put you back in.
I was gonna keep it out, but
You know, unscripted,
have it
unedited.
on tape now.
God, but it is on tape. So, Gina, I got a mug for you. Congratulations. And thank you so much to everyone else who did subscribe. Much appreciated. So, Toni, tell folks, what should we start with? There's so many good things I want to talk about with you. I want to talk about your journey and how you got into myofascial. Do you want to start with what myofascial is?
so I guess I'll be more comfortable if I talk about my journey. So I am a 49-year-old woman, and about five years ago now, I'm sorry, 6 years ago, my daughter was leaving for college. I'm hitting midlife, and I realized, it's time to look at my life again, what my interests are, how do I want my life to look going forward, and at the time I was working in the medical field, but not in a very service-oriented position, more administrative, and I just fulfilled a dream when I went to massage school. I fell in love with massage back when I was 25. Had my first session, it was amazing, and it was a seed, and it just kind of like planted in my head, and I just thought I want to be in this environment. I just want to work in this peaceful atmosphere, and I really want to just give people that opportunity for 50 minutes to just zone out, check out, and relax, and just be consumed with relaxation. So I went to massage school, and I absolutely have not stopped learning and growing since then, spiritually. And it was interesting, when I started massage school, I went to a place, at the time it was a Veda school, series school for massage. In the middle of my tenure there, Joelle bought the school at Center for the Healing Arts. It's in Voorhees. Joelle is the owner of the school. She's a Reiki master, massage therapist, sensation, physiology nerd, nerd.
Sign me up.
And her main focus was, when we touch people, we were touching the mind, body, and spirit. And 6 years ago, I'm like, I don't want to hear about this spirit stuff. I just want to learn how to rub the body, to entice relaxation.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't want to hear about the spiritual stuff at all. So I have I'm really proprioceptively gifted. That just means, I can feel tension and stress. And
I can vouch for that because I went to Toni for myofascial. She's like, it hurts here. I was like, okay, yes.
A lot of us just have that talent.
Me too.
Many people watching. You guys, if you're the person where your family backs up to you at Thanksgiving and you're rubbing shoulders and feet, you're proprioceptively intelligent. So, and I was very heavy-handed as a massage therapist, and people like that because you like to feel it.
Get in there. Get that knot.
So I had the fortune of treating multiple clients again and again and again over a year and a half. And these are people who work out, who train, who know their bodies, who invest a lot of time and energy into keeping themselves healthy and are presenting with like a chronic pain issue or muscle or limitation issue, and we're working it out in massage, mostly with deep pressure and pumping. And if they're not back on the table every 2 or 3 weeks, the symptoms are recurring. So there's relief, but then there's the recurrence of symptoms. And I'm just like, I don't, after literally over a year with multiple clients, I'm like, what am I missing? What am I not bringing to the table? Mm-hmm. So Joelle, my mentor, who is extremely gifted, her and I were talking about the fascia, and I'm like, it has to be the connective tissue. Like, I think that's the piece I'm missing. And I'm like, who should I study with? There are multiple modalities of that you can study fascia as far as being a body worker. And her instinct right away was John Barnes.
Name I know from my PT background.
Yes.
Very well known.
John Barnes. He is the founder of myofascial release. He's a physical therapist who graduated from Penn in 1960, and he was a jock and a huge weightlifter, suffered some injuries because of it, and through his own self-treatment started to incorporate ideas from different physicians, mostly European at the time, who were studying fascia and connective tissue in terms of the body, and like relating it to quantum physics theories. I mean, it's wild. It's way beyond. Like, this man is so smart. People that study fascia, I don't claim to be that intelligent at all. I can just say it right now. Feel it.
She is brilliant. Yes.
So, I went to a John Barnes seminar, and myofascial release one. I went with one of my massage besties, and it was overwhelming.
I can imagine.
It really was. Mm-hmm. There were people, it was overwhelming, but brilliant. When I left the 3-day seminar, I was like, I just want to hula hoop. Like, my hips haven't moved like this in forever.
This motion I didn't know I had.
Yeah. And I got to John, actually. I've been able to go to a few seminars with him, being the instructor. Yeah, it's beautiful. I loved that. A few things that he said, and I say, so you can say this to a therapist, a client, whatever feels good and resonates with you with this modality, take it with you, incorporate it. And if you're not ready for some pieces of the information or some of the techniques, it's okay. You might be ready for them eventually. And honestly, the more successful your success is going to be based on your willingness to come at your treatment sessions with a beginner's mindset. Don't come with a prescriptive, okay, right shoulder pain, this means we're going to start here, end here. Like, there's not necessarily a protocol, but more of like an intuitive kind of feeling once you assess your clients. So, am I rambling?
A little bit, but it's all wonderful knowledge.
Okay.
And it all makes it's beautiful.
So that's how I got started with Barnes on the advice of my mentor, Joelle, owner of Center for the Healing Arts Massage School.
It's a great place.
Great place, absolutely.
Big fan. Number one client. Hi, Amber.
Yay!
Scheduled through the end of the year, monthly. Don't take her spots from me, people.
Seriously.
You will be unsubscribed if you do.
Yes, I know. Or you're like, oh my God, some people say that. Like, I don't tell people about this place because I don't want more people to book appointments.
I tell them about the place. I don't tell them who I see.
Nice.
Unless I really like them.
That's funny.
And truly, I am booked through the end of the year.
I know.
Yeah. She's not getting an appointment with. But you, so the myofascial.
Yeah.
And I love the piece that you talked about coming in. Number two things. Oof. Coming in with beginner's mindset and not setting an expectation. I just think that makes the session so much more valuable. Like, when I came in to see Toni, I just left my PT brain at my house, 7 zip codes away, and said, nope, I'm coming in. I'm like, Amber, it's here. My shoulder was like, I didn't have neck on the left side of it. And just to be there in that moment and be willing to take in whatever feeling you're supposed to have and whatever that lesson is. But then the other point you made that just made my heart so happy was about being open to whatever it is, and you don't have to heal all at once, right? And that's, I think, something in this holistic space that is sometimes hard to sit with, right? right? Because when we're in the Western space, the traditional healthcare model, I have a cough, I get cough syrup, cough gets suppressed. I feel better, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then in our Eastern non-traditional complementary worlds, it's sometimes because we're dealing with issues with deeper roots and deeper placements that it takes time to literally peel back the layers of the muscle, the fascia, all those things. And so it's coming where you're at, and there's emotions.
There are physical sensations, emotions. I feel like this might be a good time to transition to, my philosophy. I will like to say that I just want to put this disclaimer out there. In my experience, I feel like my strengths are physiological, the physiological understanding of body processes, more like a scientific, clinical-minded therapist. I have some most colleagues I have, I say, you can come at myofascial release or body work, healthcare, you can come at everything I'm starting to learn, owning like my strengths, which are in physiology and science. But there are people who are very gifted with the ability to interact and perceive energy in people, really connect spiritually with people. Honestly, that's not my strength. I'm charismatic. I make people feel comfortable, but my brain just works pretty linearly, and I'm growing as a therapist as far as being able to trust my instincts and really respond to people energetically.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's crazy. And really, honestly, what this work comes down to is just learning how to trust yourself and really just how to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Where am I tight? My right, let's just use shoulder. My right shoulder hurts. Okay. 6 years ago, I would have went to the ortho, got the cortisone injection, did the physical therapy, and probably had it feel better, have people rub it. And I'm not discounting any of them.
Absolutely.
I've met some beautiful physical therapists that have addressed whole body concerns, or let me know, my hip issue is coming from my walking stance, and I'm like, what?
It's all connected.
Pre-massage life, and now, with myofascial release, you can recognize, my right shoulder pain is coming from tight pecs, stemming from a generalized tightness along the diaphragm, and, probably some tight psoas and rectus abdominis because I spend my life like this, so, yeah, so it's really an opportunity for you to have a therapist who doesn't have their own agenda in mind. Their whole goal for the session is to connect with your body, observe, kind of look at your general posture, see where you're being held in gravity, and working with you each and every session to just release, create more space in your body where it needs it.
I love that.
You'll feel freer and you'll want to pull it.
You do. I mean, I jumped off your table and I was like, oh my gosh, I can lift my shoulder. And then
I love that when people are like, look, I can do this now.
And then a couple days later, I was like, Toni, my spasms made me strong. I'm so weak now underneath this. And then we do some physical therapy to get those muscles a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
But it's a process. So let's take a step back. I don't know if we actually gave the opportunity to define myofascial release. And so MFR, myofascial release, John Barnes, give us the Webster dictionary definition of myofascial release.
Okay. So the
Toni version.
The actual physiological definition is fascinating. It's wonderful. It's very technical and makes me sound way smarter than I am. So
we don't talk about it.
So fascia is connective tissue. And when I'm explaining to clients exactly what connective tissue is, I talk about it in terms of our bones. Our bones are tools that our muscles use to let us do work. Bones give our body the strength to, pick things up, move ourselves into different positions, do work. It gives us the ability to use force in our body and do work. Muscles really communicate with our brain They do a lot. I'm very oversimplifying here, but they basically tell our bones what to do. And then we have connective tissue or fascia, which is ubiquitous, meaning there's no start or end to it. It's like our skin. We don't have like a seam in our skin. That, this is where it starts and this is where it ends. Not like a muscle.
And social origin,
Yeah. So it's not linear at all. It's very three-dimensional, and our fascia innervates every single cell in our body. So if we start, literally pick any cell in your body, whether it be in your muscle, in an osteocyte, in your bone, whether it be, a cell in your hepatic cell in your liver, brain cell, each and every cell contains fascia, and it innervates out from there. And it's our body's slide and glide system. It's how we have our heart and lungs and our cardiothoracic cavity that breathe and can slide and glide over each other and not get stuck. We have all these digestive organs that are doing a lot of work all day long to move nutrients along, absorption. So it's slide and glide, and it's protective in nature. It's one of its big properties is its tensile strength. So when you fall, when you're in a car accident or you have a big fall, the absorption is done in the fascia. So,
what myofascial release is? Definition?
Myofascial release.
The Toni definition.
So this area, these connective tissues made of elastin, collagen, and ground substance. So mostly collagen though. And collagen is a powerful substance that our body uses to bolster certain areas and provide strength and support, but it can get stuck in our fascia. It can either through physical trauma, through inactivity, through poor chronic posture issues, through emotional trauma. We have these areas of our body that get dehydrated and stuck. I like to say, that area of flesh, and this is not my idea. I got this from, thank you. Sorry. Got this from a therapist. Healthy flesh, healthy muscle and fascia will remind you of like raw steak. Adhered or dehydrated or restricted fascia will remind you of beef jerky. So a myofascial release therapist will engage that restriction, and I'm just touching.
I'm like, go ahead, like it's more in the back, but go ahead, that part's fine. I think
but it's
we'll
all
find
connected.
out live if it's not.
So we just engage with that fascial restriction in a different way than you're used to with massage therapy. Massage therapy, the first minute or two that we're touching tissue, we're dealing with the myo part of the myofascial release, the muscle tissue. But when we engage the tissue for 3 to 5 minutes, that's where that scientific process happens, that there's a melting that occurs, like that beef jerky starts to soften into flesh-like state. The ground substance in the fascia can be rehydrated, which lets the collagen slide over each other again, gives it its slide and glide back, and can organize in a smarter fashion to restore function, decrease pain, and ultimately is going to point to other areas of your body that are tight that we can loosen up to.
I love that definition. I love the science behind that. Like the geek in me just geeks out because it is, right? You're taking the muscle that has, tell me if this is a fair thing to say, like when people say, oh, I have a knot, I have a shoulder pain, right? That's some of your fascia bunched up, right? And now we're taking that knot and we're releasing it and we're allowing the muscle to get back to its muscle, its striations, and they do all the muscular junctions and all this stuff, right? And it's a great tool for addressing the imbalance and the slide and glide.
One of the major function of fascia in muscles is, a fascial sheath covers every myofiber, which
sure
every
does.
muscle cell. And then it, bunches a few myofibrils up, and, that's a piece of a muscle. And it just kind of goes along that organizing fashion until we have the whole muscle group connected via tendon to bones, so it innervates our bone. But if there's fascial restrictions in that muscle, it's not efficiently contracting and releasing. So that's just in the muscular system. We can have fascial restrictions around our liver, around our lungs, in our central nervous system, through our spine.
That's a whole nother podcast.
It is.
But it's true, and when we think about holistic health and healing, we sometimes don't think about the connection between the muscle and the organ system, right? And how truly there is this interstate of information traveling between the organ and the muscle, and how it's connected, and it's sharing information, both good and bad, and how it really does make a difference to impact those things. I mean, I know in my career in the hospital, I've never seen anyone do myofascial bedside in acute care on an ICU type of patient, right? And I think about, and part of what I do in my holistic practice through Reiki and energy work is that balance. And I think about the balance that you bring through the physical body on top of the spiritual as well. And it seems so common sense, like, why aren't we doing this more?
Oh.
That might be 7 whole more podcasts. I don't know.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think the biggest thing I would want somebody to take away from, if this is your first introduction into myofascial release, if it's not, just God help me if I don't mean to. This is my view.
Oh, you're nailing it.
My
You're doing
perspective.
Great. Keep the people in the world.
I would want you to understand. I think the true magic for myofascial release is genuinely just creating space and helping somebody bring awareness to their own body. Like, it's not the therapist. You have to come at it from a certain mindset and a certain set of skills and a certain amount of knowledge in your head, but not like a minimal amount.
I would give you more credit than that.
It's just the magic actually happens with the interaction with the two. And it's not a therapist performing like something on you. It's our bodies creating a resonance that actually creates the release. So the physical release is created literally when
if I must.
The energy from our two bodies matches. Mechanical transduction, this is called. Myofascialrelease.com is an excellent website to go to for general information about the modality. There's also tons and tons of articles that John has written and contributed to that are just, that's where all the nerd meat is if you're interested. So myofascial release actually occurs when our bodies create a resonance, and that allows your restriction to release. And one of the biggest things that it does is engages our body's autoimmune system to produce anti-inflammatory interleukins that then course through your body for like 72 hours, 96 hours, to just find other areas that are tight and kind of let them open up and become that fleshy kind of slide glide environment. Hula hoop light, yeah.
So is this why people get red after a massage or after myofascial, or right where they get like a little histamine response? Is that what that comes from?
We attribute it to vasomotor reaction. Yeah. And not always even in the area that you're being worked on. Like, a great way to recognize areas of tightness in yourself is to just look at your posture. Look at yourself in a mirror as you're nice and casual, and you're going to notice like one shoulder's higher, one shoulder's lower, one hip is higher, one hip is lower. A part of your thoracic cage can appear like held tighter, and there's no shame in it. We're all asymmetrical. We all have restriction. We all could benefit from myofascial release.
And we live in an asymmetrical world.
Absolutely.
Right? The street looks even, but there's a slant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm perimenopausal. We went into this knowing this could happen.
Unscripted, unedited, uncut on the porch.
Where was I going?
Well, we were talking about the histamine response. Everyone
the histamine
gets red.
response. Yeah. So working in one area, of course, when a client comes in, we always look elsewhere for the cause, but we're responding to pain, restriction, pain. We're mostly responding to your symptoms. Where does it hurt? Where is it here, angry, or upset? That's the area we're going to work in, and then we're going to listen to your body. You're either going to tell me, I know you're working on my right scapula area, but for some reason my left calf wants to cramp now. And I'm like, okay, that's where we're going next, your left calf. And somewhere along the way is going to be an intersection of a tightness that we'll eventually stumble onto. We might do it together. You might find it in your self-treatment. But it's there.
It's there.
We'll find.
I mean, I'm a case study of that. I came to see Toni after years of not being able to fix my left trap. And as a PT, I was very stubborn. Imagine that. Those of you who know me personally, I know you're surprised. I tried everything. And I was like, all right, let's do myofascial. And I learned a teeny bit of myofascial in PT school. I learned one little technique. Thank you, Colleen Bradley. And I'd used it in my career, but I didn't know the depth of what I was getting into when I saw Toni. And I was like, it hurts here. And the next thing you know, I was on my side. She's on the other side of my thorax, my rib cage, and like down on my calf. And I was like, what are you doing? And then the next thing you know, I had a huge histamine response right on my lateral rib cage and just this bruise that came up. And Toni's pressure is light. It's not a deep pressure, but it was the toxins and the level of depth that soft tissue restriction was in that just it needed to be released. And I remember just being the next morning, I was like, look at my shoulder, I have a neck again. And I was getting in the shower and I was like, what's on my back? Oh my God. And it was wild just to see the connection and to be able, we might have a visitor on the porch today. Do you want to say hi? Okay. But it's amazing to see how connected our bodies are and how smart our bodies are to hold and protect us when we have injury in different areas.
Absolutely. That's the amazing, like, I feel like in our society, and I'm probably going to, enlighten people about my psyche right now, but, we think, well, ignore pain, disassociate. Like, we're going to tough ourselves, we're going to tough our way through it. When your body is telling you something hurts, it's giving you that message for a reason. Address it. Does it mean it's an emergency? No, but it is a message, and we should be listening to it. When we listen to the message when it's this loud, it can save us from not listening to it until it's this loud, like really loud. And
this is April. I just turned my mic on. This is April. She can say hi. Hello, everyone. She owns a Zen Den here, and she's a nurse practitioner, and she's one of my favorite people. So we're gonna recruit her to be on the podcast.
Oh, sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love this idea. Yeah,
Do you
no
wanna-
problem. Hi, everybody. Have a nice weekend.
Okay.
See ya.
Unscripted, unedited. I love little special guests.
okay, that was fun.
That was fun. But now my train of thoughts gone, so I hope you were remembering what we were talking about.
I do. I remember. So please listen to messages from your body. I will say too, in all of my experience with this modality and all the other therapists I've been blessed to work with, and when we go to seminars, there's usually 60, 80, 100 people there, and everybody is so different. But there's always this goal in mind, just to empower people to start being comfortable listening to their bodies, finding out a little bit of like the message it's trying to give you. Like we're meant to heal ourselves. With 5 minutes of compression, you immediately have interleukins coursing through your body, acting as anti-inflammatories. Like that's your body doing it.
Amazing,
right? We
right?
just do it together. So please just listen to your body, and I don't know any bad myofascial release therapists. I have to be honest. I'm saying that they're going to help you work to self-treat, so you're not dependent on the therapist. Like you can get work through some chronic issues, get yourself to a point where you're physically comfortable and you feel comfortable moving forward with your own self-treatment, and then come in once or twice a year for a little tune-up, so that the idea is really empowerment, and listen to your body, recognize it's asking for help, that it needs help, and learn how to treat yourself.
So beautiful. It's true.
It is.
It really is true.
And
those
this
little
is somebody
notes.
from 6 years ago when I went to massage school. I didn't want to hear about this mind, body, spirit mess. I just wanted to learn how to rub muscle.
Right? Isn't it funny how you're taken where you're meant to be, and
Yes.
whatever the education is you need, you're gonna get it one way or the other.
One way or the other. One way or the other.
You can, like you said, you can listen when it's a small little whisper, or you can wait till
I
it's a
tend
big
to
loud
not
stadium.
listen
Yep.
until it's this big.
Mhm. And then do you go, why didn't anyone tell me this before?
Sister, I mean, not to be honest, I think, I mean, for me, it's pretty, there are some things I look back, I could have a lot of regrets about. You know, I have a daughter who has issues with majorly flat feet. I subjected her to surgeries in the past. You know, and I don't get, it was an excellent surgeon, had a job, you know, the best surgeon. I think back now, like, my God, I could have just been doing myofascial release on her gastroc and soleus and probably given her enough space in the ankle region to develop a natural little arm. Anyway.
Can't look in the back. Well,
No, you can't.
Not be able to attend to the day if we do.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
nice.
So, you know, I don't know why I haven't heard about it before, but I'll tell you. I appreciate Western medicine and everything that we've learned by dissecting the body apart. And this is not my idea. This is definitely a synopsis of a Barnes thought for sure. But, you know, we dissected the body to understand things linearly, from beginning to end, cause effect, this then that, 2 + 2 is 4. But in reality, that's just us dumbing everything down. Like, there's way more sophisticated and intricate processes happening that needs, you know, that can be addressed with scientific principles and the therapeutic purpose, but there is an art to it.
Mm-hmm. There is. It is an art.
And
Healing is an art.
it's fascinating. I wish that, you know, I think part of me wonders, you know, having had a big experience working in the medical field, a whole bunch of different jobs from the very early 90s until now. I'm like, should I, you know, try to work to have this covered by insurance? I would love to be able to do that, but it's so overwhelming. I'm sure this is a whole nother podcast.
Oh yeah, that I will never be part of. No, thank you.
I know.
The finance
It's like
behind that.
so overwhelming to think as a single human being to try to like navigate the insurance field to try to make it more accessible to people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a whole series.
I know.
So if I'm coming to you and maybe I've had a massage or I haven't had a massage, what give me like the 30-second? What would someone expect from knocking on your door, walking in, to going through their session? For someone who's
I love it.
not familiar.
Few things. One, there's a lot of talking initially. Especially, there can be a lot of talking, I should say. When I'm with a client who has as much expertise as you do with the body in the medical field, my comfort level is very high. Like, I know there's a lot of things that you have an understanding. Like, Katie to me is the ideal. She's the ideal of a bar client. You're a Reiki master and a physical therapist. So she understands all of the things more than I do. You understand the body more than I do, energy,
All
chakras more than I do. So
30 seconds. What do they get when they come in to see you?
They get a physical evaluation, but just postural, with as minimal clothes on as you're comfortable, like a woman in a sports bra and a little pair of shorts or even a swimsuit bottom. And we're just looking for general patterns of posture with gravity added. A lot of talking to just, get a history of traumas throughout your life, operations, health concerns, and traumas, really. And then a lot of rambling of this for like 10 minutes to just talk about the fascia, because when I start touching people, it doesn't feel like a regular massage. And the last thing, if you're able to get out of your head, you feel the touch and you're like, okay, this feels significant. But I project and I'm like, I would be like, why the hell does this person have their hands on me? What is happening?
Mm-hmm.
That's what my brain would be saying. So I try to really tell people what's happening. And then we look for areas of tight, and I love that you do that.
Yeah.
And we touch. The biggest hold that you'll feel is a cross-hand release. So different areas of tightness all over your body. It could be a glute, it could be a calf, it could be your pec muscle via the sternal area, all over your back, your cranium. We do like nice cross-hand releases or compression for 5 minutes or so.
And it just feels like comfort. It doesn't, you're right, it doesn't feel like a typical massage, but it does feel like there's pressure and support. beforehand given it.
Yeah.
And then how long are people on your table when they come to see you?
I do 30, 60, 90, and 120 minute sessions. I do have people that travel quite a bit far to see me, so I will, it's just nice. If you're comfortable with the process, 2 hours flies. People are like, how do you do this for 2 hours? I'm like, I can do it for 2 more.
Truly, I think I saw you for 90 minutes, and I was like, I was here for 10 minutes. I was responsible. Yeah.
The session time is typically based around somebody's financial comfort level and really where they're at and how ready they are to receive. I will say, by the time I see people, it's usually somebody who is suffering. So they're ready.
Hi.
Yeah.
Will I have learned my lesson? I certainly hope so. Next time, I will not wait as long to listen to my body, because you know what? My body had said that for years. And I was like, nah, I got that. I'm smarter than you. No, I was not.
Girl, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So, Toni, how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more, if they have questions, if they want to schedule an appointment?
Okay. A great way to communicate with me is through the John Barnes directory. So if you go to myofascialrelease.com and you see in the upper right hand corner there's a find a therapist, you can click on the directory, put in I'm in South Jersey, 08021 zip code, and you can message me there. I'm happy to answer any questions. You can also find a therapist closer to where you live, or somebody who speaks to you in a.
See, it's unedited, so you can't find them. You have to find Toni. I'm sorry, other therapist. I'm sure you're wonderful, but you just have to go to Find Hill and find Toni. Sorry.
Now I will say, they're actually John Barnes Treatment Center in Malvern, PA, which is super.
That's his main office, right?
It was the original. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and he actually spends most of his time in Sedona now.
Okay.
Which is another beautiful place, and go there if you can. Go there. So his therapy center is super close. There's the clinical manager there, Val McGraw, has been with him since the late 80s, early 90s. She's a PT. Okay. It's a fascinating place. But yeah, John Barnes.
And I will put the link in the website so you can click and get directly to Toni. But thank you so much for being on the porch with me this Friday morning.
Thank you for having me.
This just lights up my heart. I love talking about the body, how it connects, and how we can actually fix ourselves if we just take the time to listen. So thank you so much. And have a wonderful Friday. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. And we will be back next Friday with Jackie Christmas from Vitality Hospice. Jackie, we're so excited to talk with you next. Thanks, everyone.